most of all, why is it that we think this is even a science question to begin with? We frame it as if it were a question of fact. What, are we humans changing the climate? Okay, that's a factual question. It would be vastly better if the question we asked were this: do we have enough evidence so that speaking prudentially, speaking morally, we should be taking corrective actions to avoid this problem? That's a vastly different question. It is one that would be framed affirmatively in normative terms. I mean, think about this. So the question in climate change these days seems to be, has it been scientifically proven that we're changing the climate? All right, what does scientific proof mean? What most people would say about scientific proof is it's about correlation level. It's about confidence levels. That something is proven if your confidence level is at least 95%. And so we're going to wait until we're at least 95% confident that we're degrading the climate. Okay, perfectly fine. All right, a show of hands. You're about ready to get on an airplane today, and somebody says to you, you know, there's a 50% chance that that plane is going to crash. Who's getting on? Who thinks we're going to take on a 50% chance of crashing? A 10% chance of crash? Where did we get the notion that the scientific proof framing of this issue is somehow a normatively legitimate one? But it's because of this cult of objectivity that is so ingrained that even the environmentalists can't resist it. They just naturally drift. Well, of course this is basically a fact issue. Of course, on an issue of great public importance, we need to bring in the scientists. It's an issue of fact. It's going to be all about proof. That's going to be the framing of it, period. Therein lies, I think, the reason why we're not making progress. Everything about that picture is wrong. The people we're bringing in, the way we framed it, we're pushing the normative issues aside. It's all about facts. There's a lot of intellectual work that the environmental movement needs to do. Those of you who have read some of my stuff know that one of my biggest laments for a long time has been the fact that the environmental movement has never paid attention to private property as an institution. We know what the neoliberal right thinks it means to own nature. What does the conservation movement think that private property ownership is all about? The answer is they don't think anything because they haven't taken the time to talk about it. They don't think about it. 30 years ago, the conservation movement should have come forward and said, we are in favor of private property rights, but we are in favor of a vision of responsible land ownership. Our opponents are in favor of a vision of irresponsible land ownership. That's the choice. Instead, it's, oh, gee, the developers are in favor of private property and the environmentalists are who knows what. They're just saying, well, of course private property is important, but look, there's all these public interests that we need to protect and blah, 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 blah. And now, what is the point of this? Private property is very much a human creation, just like everything else I'm talking about. It is not a platonic ideal. Doesn't come one size, fits all. It has taken a wide variety of shapes and sizes in our own history. You don't have to look outside the United States to look at a widely varied ways of understanding ownership. Most Americans would be stunned to know that 200 years ago in the United States, rural landowners did not have the right to exclude outsiders. The whole rural landscape was open to public hunting. Your livestock could go anywhere, foraging nuts and berries, and landowners could not tell you to stay off unless they had gone to the considerable trouble of enclosing their space with sturdy fences. Our ecological degradation, I think, has a lot to do with our culture, our cognition, the way we understand nature and see our place in it. We need new frames. And they need to be put together with care. They need to be put together with great thought. And once they are put together, they need to be supported widely by the environmental movement as a whole, with particular messages that go out again and again and again.